All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. Really good fight last night between Gervonta Tank Davis and CRUZ. Better fight than a lot of people had expected. But in the aftermath of the fight, Gervonta Davis lets it pretty much blast Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and Mark KAMBOSOS. Let's talk about that, what he said, and why he said it in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. Hey, before we get into the meat of the video, please make sure you hit that like button, which should be down here, I do believe, on the screen. Hit that like button. Also hit the subscribe button. It would really help grow the channel. We had a good fight last night, a better fight than a lot of people expected, between Gervonta Davis and CRUZ. CRUZ lost a unanimous decision to Gervonta Davis after he put on a pretty good, I think a very, very good show, a good fundamental show, showing. Gervonta Davis hurt his hand in the 6th round. It was pretty obvious that he hurt his hand too. This wasn't some scenario where people are making it up or he's making up excuses. He literally stopped throwing the left hand around, which is his strong hand because he's a southpaw. In the 6th round, he said he came down on CRUZ's head and hurt his knuckle, hit him on the top of the head and hurt his knuckle. Wasn't used to punching down on guys, and pretty much after that he couldn't use his left hand for the rest of the fight. But he felt that if he hadn't done that, Isaac CRUZ was on his way to being broken down, and he feels like he would have been able to stop him. My take on it is you never know what would have happened moving forward, but around the 4th, 5th round, I did see Gervonta Davis start stepping to CRUZ, and really I think actually probably hurt him around the 5th round, a 4th or the 5th round. So it looked like he was starting to steamroll a little bit, but then that momentum stopped. The commentators didn't really catch on to the hand injury till around round 10, where Gervonta Davis literally would throw like 5 right hands in a row, would do whatever he needed to do not to throw that left hand. The referee comes to his corner and says, hey, you can protect yourself. So I know your hand is hurt and we're going to let it continue as long as you can defend yourself. And, he said, yeah, okay. So it's a documented injury. It's something when we look at the fight and look at what happened between the two of them, where you can say, okay, more than likely, that really did inhibit his performance. And I thought Gervonta Davis, all things considered, what showed that he's an extremely talented boxer. He's not just a flat-footed fighter that comes forward. He has excellent defense, can move very well, can slip out of the corner, is extremely quick, very, very talented fighter. Hat also goes off to CRUZ, who was a come-forward fighter, was kind of plotting guy, strong body shots, very, very aggressive, and, tried his best and stuck with his game plan. He just had a guy in there in the ring with him where once his guy got injured, he really couldn't take advantage. And that was his duty, to be able to take advantage of that and really start pressing Gervonta. But Gervonta's defensive skills pretty much kept that at bay. So, that was the fight. And then after the fight, Jim Gray asked Gervonta Davis about what he's going to do next, as what they usually do in these after fights. And he says, what about these other guys in the division? Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, George KAMBOSOS. George KAMBOSOS was here today, to watch the fight. What do you think about them? And he basically says, look, man, I think all those guys are easy work, and that, and I'm the top dog in this, and I'm the top dog in the division. Now, one thing that I will say, for certain, these guys all fought this well. Yeah, they all fought within the last couple weeks. Teofimo Lopez lost. George KAMBOSOS, probably, if everybody had, obviously, the best fight of anybody, kind of coming out of the blue. Devin Haney looked really good against Jojo Diaz. Gervonta Davis, got through this fight with CRUZ, and I think it was an understandable why he didn't get to stop CRUZ. But when you look at the crowd that was at that Staples Center, man, it was a absolutely gigantic crowd, right? When you compare that to like the Devin Haney fight, or when you compare that to the Teofimo Lopez fight with George KAMBOSOS, it was just a completely different environment. and the ticket sales obviously for that fight were through the roof. My understanding is that people, a good number of people bought the pay-per-view, or at least were paying, attention to the fight. I didn't do a live fight call because, I'm getting old, man, and I do an 8:30 a.m. I start work at like 6 o'clock in the morning, so I really can't. It's a little bit too much for me to do a live stream and do that in the evening. But I did watch other people's and saw that there was a lot of engagement and a lot of people talking about the fight. So moving forward, I don't know how good, whether any of these guys can beat Gervonta Davis. Honestly, man, from what I saw, the adjustments that he made in that fight to Isaac CRUZ, he showed me that he's a very, very intelligent fighter. And he wasn't some guy that if he's, just coming out there looking for the knockout, that you're going to be able to outbox him and land a bunch of punches on him. Him versus George Kambosos, in my opinion, is a whitewash. It provided, Gervonta Davis doesn't hurt his hand. But I don't think there's anything George Kambosos is going to be able to do with Teofimo Lopez. Be able to do with Gervonta Davis. Ryan Garcia, who is the most likely opponent for him out of all of these guys, because Ryan Garcia will also bring another really big fan base, to the fight. I think that's the fight that is more likely than not going to happen. Oscar De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia, took to the media to blast the performance of Gervonta Davis, saying, that he's ready to fight Gervonta Davis right now. Like, yeah, if you're fortunate enough that he breaks his hand and has to fight you for half the fight one-handed, okay, maybe. But until then, Ryan, maybe you should, get a couple warm-up fights before you jump in there. But because of his name recognition and all of that stuff, that's the front runner, in my opinion, for the fight with him. I don't see the Devin Haney fight happening. I do not see, maybe the George Kambosos fight can definitely happen. But when you're looking at that fight, that crowd in L.A., for Gervonta Davis, the likelihood, and that was against Isaac CRUZ, which is not a big name fighter. Gervonta Davis sold out the Staples Center by himself. The likelihood of him going out to Australia to fight George Kambosos is like, slim and none, and none left town. So, and it doesn't appear like, Gervonta Davis is really going to care about those belts like that when those guys are raking in that type of money. And even in the fight being competitive, I think that probably served, Gervonta Davis even better than had the fight been a really early knockout, or at least it served it just as well, because there are a lot of people in there. Obviously there were a good number of fans in there that were rooting for Isaac CRUZ, because you're out in LA, there's a large Mexican population. I'm sure that there were a lot in the building, for that fight. So, if he was going to run a rematch, which I don't think he's going to do, he said the guy doesn't deserve a rematch, but I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to sell that again, man, and had another fight with him and sold out the Staples Center again. But, all in all, Gervonta Davis, his star power is almost a problem as far as getting the fights in lightweight, because none of the other guys can, bring in the crowd like he does. And the belts are not going to be a motivation for him in that scenario, because like George Kambosos is not, because he won 3 or 4 belts off of Teofimo Lopez, is not going to be in a position where he's going to say, okay, yeah, I'm the A side and I'm going to be the one that's choosing to fight whether or not I'm going to fight Gervonta Davis. Not going to happen. There's so much money in any one of those guys' fights with Gervonta Davis, man, that he's going to be in the driver's seat for, pretty much for whatever happens. But, if I had to guess what would be next for him, I would say probably Ryan Garcia. Ryan probably seems he's going to feel a little bit more brave. Like, if, Isaac CRUZ can do that, I can do better because I'm a better fighter than Isaac CRUZ. But the deal is styles make fights, and Isaac CRUZ is a very, very small target. Very small target. He did not win that fight. And I don't mean anybody claiming some robbery or anything, man, get out of here. He did not win that fight. In my personal opinion, he didn't come close to winning that fight, or he may have come within 2 rounds of winning that fight. But Gervonta was winning a round. In the second half of the fight, he would just win around when he wants to win around, right, and get out of there. Now, that could also speak to the, you know, some people could say, hey, you know, he's really, Isaac Cruz is not that good a fighter, so, you know, it is what it is. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.